Well, first, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up and thank Mary for the use of the room and the food and everything else.
I hear that.
All right. Next, most of y'all here have either volunteered or been volunteered to be player representatives, state directors, regional representatives, whatever. Because the USTSF, which is really all of you guys and all the players out there, we need to represent ourselves. And hopefully that's why everybody's here. We're trying to set up kind of a network of people so that we can all communicate better and act, kind of give ourselves one voice. Whether it's to, other promoters or to a manufacturer or internationally, so we all have one voice. And that's kind of what we're trying to organize with the state directors, regional directors, etc. Kind of setting up a communication network so that we can communicate with each other better and communicate with everyone else better. As most of you know, there was a meeting that happened in Las Vegas at way too early in the morning that very few people could show up for. I'll quickly touch on what we went over in that meeting, which is mostly we're mostly going over a lot of the administrative and things that happen to set up an organization so that it can be viable, so that it can actually stay in existence. So they went over things like our filing with the U.S. government for taxes, so that it's a nonprofit organization, so that we can take donations from corporations. They can write them off. Things like getting the articles of incorporation and bylaws and all that stuff squared away. We also went over a few other things like various responsibilities that the USTSF is going to be taking over, or has already taken over and is in the process of doing, like the referee program, officiating, getting that so that it's not associated with anybody that works with a manufacturer or anything else. So it's really kept within the group, within the players. There's a nice, framework being set up for that, and a new program for that. Also taking over things like ratings and rankings. Now, how people use them is another thing, but guys like Murray Johnson and Sean Cooper have been working on this massive ELO system. And the system is actually working now. How people, and whether or not people choose to use it, whether they choose to use the rankings as they're adjusted or not, is up to whatever promoters are running it. But they're currently doing that. Also talked about doing things like trying to take over the Hall of Fame and not have it be hooked to one particular promoter and whatever they see fit to do. Also talked about some other detailed things like licensing the USTSF logos, registering them as trademarks. Went over a couple of other things, a couple of initiatives that we started and actually finally made some progress just this week on, which is we've been getting requests from U.S. servicemen all over the world for foosball tables to be shipped all over the world. No problem, we have tables. People are willing to donate tables left and right, but it was going to cost $3,000 to ship a $1,000 table to Afghanistan or to Iraq or something like that. But I think we finally this week figured out, actually the servicemen themselves figured out how if we drop it off at one particular place, they can route it to get there. So that initiative is actually going to be underway now.
I was going to say, talk to radar.
Yes. We also went over a similar program for getting tables out to youth centers, things like that. Also went over, we had a very brief discussion about USTSF membership fees. And again, it got crushed and thrown on the back burner again. Because everybody said, well, there's no need to charge memberships. Why should you charge somebody for something you have a right to do, which is be represented.
But a voice needs revenues, so it's not a bad idea.
But revenues can come from services. We'll get to that in discussion. But yeah, we figured it's better to charge people or promoters or manufacturers or whatever for services provided and not charge the players just to be a member. Also discussed setting up a scholarship program once, there was a lot of discussion on once funds are here, things that would happen with it. One of which was a scholarship program, and we actually have people looking into setting up a set of criteria and an application and things like that. Let's see, other things we talked about was, the need to collect player data to kind of, because we need it to define us as a group. We don't know who we are other than the people here. We don't know how many people play overall in the country or even in a particular state. Who plays, where they live, male or female, general age group. We have no idea. And that's the kind of information that we need to go get sponsors, to get somebody to put up some money, because they want to know who their sponsor dollars are going to, what age group, where do they live, things like that. So that's, we had, I believe Mark Winker set up, has or is setting up a nice online form to enter the data, to great lengths to make sure that the specific data that we collect does not violate any Privacy Act stuff, and it's nothing. No combination of the data that's collected is personally identifiable, like back to you where somebody could take your identity, because there was big issues with that, so we made sure that exactly what we collected wouldn't violate that.